Innovative ideas may help slow the demise of small towns in the United States, but is the answer coming in time? These endangered frogs are a blend of beauty and danger. Their declining numbers may signal an important warning for humans. And a new version of the New Testament incorporates political correctness into Scripture. All that and more coming up next on Future Watch.
Future Watch, brought to you by IBM.
Hello, and welcome to Future Watch. I'm Donna Kelly. There's something about a small town. Some suggest that life is somehow simpler in small towns, where people are more straightforward, more down to earth than maybe they are in big cities. Maybe there's something to that nostalgic view of life in small town America. Joel and Crystal Smith think so. They're building a new home in Winona, Illinois. Population, about 1,000.
I just think you know everyone, and it just feels safer, and just more comfortable in a small town.
Bill Cheney and his wife run an oil company that's putting up a new gas station just outside Winona. They'll hire people from the town.
The type of people we like to hire. They're honest and hardworking, and that's what we're looking for.
But despite their rosy reputation, small towns all across America are on the decline. Their population's dwindling as jobs move away. David George reports on how one small town fought the trend, apparently successfully.
America's heartland, where the soil's rich, the work hard, and family counts for most everything.
5 miles, right? Park.
Saturday morning in Ohio, Illinois.
One.
Founded just after the Civil War, Ohio, Illinois remembers its roots.
Ohio's the kind of town that doesn't lose sight of the past, even while keeping its eyes fixed firmly on the future.
Just a few years ago, towns like Ohio faced uncertain futures.
Ohio peaked out in about 1978, and it just started decreasing right after that.
When the farm economy went temporarily bust in the mid-'70s, it took Ohio's role as a rural commerce center down with it. Today, except for a few jobs like the seasonal ones in Gene Sisler's ice house, Ohio is a place where people live while working someplace else.
Ohio is primarily, I guess, what you call a bedroom town.
But with each passing year, Ohio watched more and more of its bedrooms turn up empty.
The older people maybe were passing away, and younger kids were moving out because there wasn't anything here for them. We could see our school population decreasing, and it was a concern.
Schools are a big concern in America's small towns.
I think when school closes, especially a high school, something goes out of the community. I think there's just a part of the community dies with it.
Ohio's business leaders, men like Dick Swanson, horse breeder and owner of a trucking company, and Jack Piper, a developer, determined to save the school and the town by attracting more families with children. It took some creative thinking.
We didn't know how to get a factory. We'd loved that. We didn't know how. We didn't have time. We didn't have the personnel or the money. But we all said, wait a minute. Everybody can understand a home, and they could live here. They could send their kids to school here. It's a nice community, and they can go live someplace else or work someplace else.
So the town started what amounted to a land giveaway, offering no-strings-attached residential lots for just $10 to anyone who'd agree to start a house within 6 months and finish it within a year.
This is the playroom. And then behind that's going to be the rec room.
Families snapped them up. Sylvia Urban and her husband are building a new house for themselves and their 2 children in Ohio in order to be 12 miles closer to their work in a town 20 miles away. Gus and Lisa Erickson will build in Ohio because the $10 lot makes a new home a lot more affordable.
The lot we were looking at was $25,000. So that's about $170 a month financing that we saved by coming here.
Putting in water, sewer, gas, and electricity costs about $15,000 per lot. In the beginning, civic-minded citizens paid those development costs out of their own pockets.
Some of them put in a couple $100, some put in $500 or $1,000. And when we run out of money, we went and borrowed some.
You get your own money back?
No, it's just an investment in our community.
Later, the town established a special tax district. Improvements are now financed with bond issues. And a $10 lot that cost the town $15,000 to develop soon pays for itself.
Because if somebody builds a house on it, they'll create enough new revenue to pay off $20,000 to $25,000 bonds. So, you know, it works. The beauty of it is we haven't got a penny from the state. We haven't got a penny from the federal government. All of it is right here.
Ohio, Illinois is on its way back from the brink.
Looks like we're going to have 7 houses put up this summer. And that's a lot for this town.
Because prior to this, how many houses had gone up?
Oh, we haven't had 7 in 7 years.
There's reason to smile these days in Ohio, Illinois, where the last generation has, by example, taught the next generation a powerful lesson. If you want to help yourself, try helping each other first. In Ohio, Illinois, David George, CNN, Future Watch.
A new exhibit at the Atlanta Botanical Garden displays the complex interaction between plants, animals, and people. It showcases an unusual amphibian that could be the key to important medical advances. But the future of this creature is threatened. Lori Waffenschmidt examines this ecological dilemma.
They're bright and beautiful, dangerous and in danger. Poison dart frogs are native to the tropical rainforests of Central and South America. There are 100 known species in spectacular shades of green, yellow, and blue. But as the rainforests disappear, so too could the colorful frogs.
The main threat to these various species is habitat destruction. They're very localized, little pockets of various populations, and it wouldn't take much to wipe them out by clearing the forest.
Experts say frogs are early indicators that other species and even an entire habitat could be in trouble.
Amphibians have very thin, permeable skin, so they're very sensitive to pollutants. They have less external protection than other animals.
But poison dart frogs have one special protection: the toxins they secrete. Their fiery coloring warns off predators.
It's just a warning that says, don't eat me. I'm poisonous. I'm bad for you.
Natives use the poison to coat the tips of their arrows, hence the name poison dart or poison arrow frogs. But not all species are lethal. Most only cause discomfort. Should endangered poison frogs receive as much protection as, say, pandas or African elephants? Yes, according to a CNN U.S. News poll. More than half of those surveyed say all endangered species should receive the same amount of protection. But over 1/3 say scientists and the government should concentrate on saving certain species. Scientists say there are important reasons to save the small poison dart frogs. The chemicals they secrete could have medical uses. Researchers are studying the tricolored frogs.
A painkiller has been discovered in the skin secretion of that frog, one that is roughly 200 times more powerful than morphine and potentially non-addictive.
And other frog secretions show potential for treating heart attack patients. Beyond their possible medical use, the frogs are biologically interesting. They lay clutches of eggs, and when the tadpoles emerge, the parents carry them to water, be it a puddle or a few drops in the cup of a plant. They even have room service. The mother frog delivers food right to the youngster.
This is unique to poison frogs, whereas other frogs, lay their eggs in a pond and leave. Yeah.
Scientists are working to save the unique frogs in the wild and with captive breeding programs. Lori Waffenschmidt, CNN, reporting.
For decades, Mexico City has literally found itself in a haze. In the past, automobile and industrial emissions were believed to be the major contributors to the smog that shrouds the skyline. But a new culprit has been identified in a recent study. Lucia Newman reports from Mexico City.
The cry of the gas vendor, heard every day all over Mexico City. Here, liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG, is king, the most popular and cheapest form of domestic fuel. But now, surprising results from a study carried out by scientists at the University of California indicate gas is not so good for one of, if not the world's most polluted city.
whereas previous studies would have indicated that it was industrial and automobile emissions that were the main source of hydrocarbons. This study shows that, in fact, those other sources are now about half, and LPG is the main source of total hydrocarbons.
The problem is not so much the gas, but the fact that it leaks. Old and rusty tanks that occupy almost every roof of this city spew out, according to Mexican officials, at least 3,000 liters of gas a day. The main problem that concerns us, says the environmental director of Mexico City, is that this contributes significantly to the formation of ozone in the atmosphere. LPG gas, made up mainly of propane and butane, is not especially harmful in and of itself. But, say scientists, it causes havoc when mixed with other gases, precisely because it produces unhealthy ozone, one of Mexico City's worst contamination problems. The appallingly high ozone levels here cause eyes to burn, noses to run, and throats to ache. And just as authorities thought they'd found the cause, if not the solution to the problem, they discover they have another one. Stopping the gas leaks is an obvious but expensive solution. Changing this gas tank, for example, costs at least $500 at a time of acute economic difficulties in Mexico. Still, the latest findings give not just Mexico, but countries like Chile, Israel, and Greece, which also rely heavily on LPG, a much better chance of really solving their acute ozone pollution problems. Lucia Newman, CNN, Mexico City.
One of the most pervasive social trends of the 1990s is political correctness, replacing long-used terms now considered derogatory with more sensitive and appropriate ones. But should the New Testament be amended in the name of political correctness? Cynthia Tornquist takes a look at the PC Bible.
The New Testament gets a facelift with a new translation that reflects thinking of the 1990s by deleting language that today might be considered sexist, racist, or anti-Semitic. The New Testament and Psalms, an inclusive version published by Oxford University Press, also attempts to be more sensitive. The blind are now people who are blind, and slaves are enslaved people. Wives should be committed to their husbands rather than submit to them.
It's an attempt to render this in the inclusive language that we now speak in the late 20th century.
For example, in Matthew chapter 11, verse 27, father has been changed to father-mother, and the son to the child. In Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 14 and 15, the word those replaces Jews, dropping the accusation that Jews killed Christ. The new translation is getting mixed reviews.
Political correctness in a Bible, it doesn't make any sense. It's foolish.
I think it's very helpful in the life of worship and in the life of study for all the people who come to church to understand themselves to be included in the reign of God.
Editors of the new translation deny they have created a politically correct Bible. They say it is more faithful to the language and intent of the original biblical text. In recent years, special editions have been published to appeal to particular groups. There are Bibles for African Americans, Bibles for children, even Bibles for people in 12-step programs. Is there a large market for an inclusive Bible?
I don't see this as, becoming a sort of standard Bible in the church pews.
There have been many translations to the Bible. The standard King James Version was criticized for dropping the Latin that had been in use for centuries. Now, as scholars and religious leaders debate this new translation, Oxford University Press is already hard at work making similar changes in the Old Testament. Cynthia Tornquist, CNN New York.
And that's all we have time for this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Donna Kelly. Next week on Future Watch, what's the most endangered species in the world? Scientists say it's the hunter's hartebeest, and this one could be the last in the world. Find out what's being done to save her from extinction.